So let's say you started a blog or you've joined someone else's. You now have to write articles or blog posts on your own, picking your own topics for the first time. Now, what is the best process to go about it? Now, you don't want to just start writing and then just post it immediately and not pay any attention to detail. No, that's not what you want to do. So there have been many ways to approach an article or a blog post when you're a new writer. Now, this way might not be pertaining to you, but this is how I have done it for over 5 years. First, and most importantly, you should pick a topic. Now, this is pretty straightforward. Before you can write, you have to know what you're writing about. So check with, if you're writing for another magazine or if you're writing for another person's blog, check with them and ask them, what do you want me to write about? What can I do to make my article relate or pertain to what you want to talk about? Step 2 is to know your audience. This one can be difficult or very easy depending on what blog or magazine you're writing for and if you are doing it under yourself or under another person. If you're writing for another person, definitely ask them because they already know who you're trying to reach. If you're writing for yourself and trying to develop a blog or a magazine for the first time, you should definitely go through certain steps in a process to determine your target audience. I'll create another video explaining my personal process of determining the demographics of who I should reach out to and who not to. The main thing is you should find your audience and focus all of your writing towards them. Step 3 is to outline. Nobody really likes this one, I get it, because it's just an extra step before you can actually get to the writing part. But I highly advise you to do this. It should not be in full sentences, it should only contain the main points you need to get across. Sometimes we just ramble on and don't make any sense at all. So step 4 is to start your first draft. Now this is where you take all of the points you had in your outline and you just throw them all together. Don't worry about editing just yet, forget about grammar, forget about, complete sentences and things like that. Just work on getting all of your points into paragraph form and in a way that is semi acceptable to what your final product is going to look like. Step 5, we're halfway there. Step 5 is to redraft. This is not exactly copy editing. It's more of you're taking all that mumbo jumbo that doesn't make sense, rewriting it, editing it, tweaking it into something that does make sense. Step 6 is to edit. Here's where you start picking apart your post or your article. You have to go over it again and again and find or fix grammar mistakes and things that still may not make sense. You should have caught everything in step 5 where you redrafted, but it's okay if you miss a thing here and there. That's why there are 10 steps to this writing process. Step 7, send it to the editor, if you have one. If you do not have one and you're just writing blog posts for your own, your own personal experiences and things like that, I would highly recommend you send it to a beta reader. Now I know sometimes, blogs are just personal things, they don't have to be that professional, but following this process is a great habit, especially if you want to continue your writing career or even if you want to get, a good job, because communication skills are, very appealing to employers. Now, step 8, re-edit. So you just got back your article or your blog post from your beta reader or your editor with their suggestions and their edits. Now, you don't have to implement everything, but I would highly suggest, taking into consideration everything that they said. If you don't make any changes that they suggested, that's not good. It's okay if you leave 1 or 2 things out because maybe they don't know the whole story, maybe something didn't make sense because it was a cliffhanger and you're going to explain it in the next blog post or something like that. Either way, you have to read everything over and make sure that you added the very necessary changes to your article or blog post. Step 9, we're almost there. Read it one last time. You've done so much to it and you're almost there. Now, you have to read this article to yourself, and I would highly suggest reading it out loud to yourself. What surprised me the most is, I used to not do this, and I still would have typos and things that didn't make sense. But as I started reading my articles aloud, even if it was just to, my little sister who wasn't even paying attention, I still was able to catch more things that I wouldn't have noticed if I was just reading it. But if you really feel like your article needs more work, I would go back and repeat steps 6 through 9. Alright, step 10! You made it! Congratulations! Yay! So now it's time to either send your finished article to the magazine team if you're working for a magazine, to send it to the blogger who would post it, or even if it's your own blog, it's time to post it. Quick couple tips and things like that. If you have a specific word count, pay attention to that. Always keep in mind your audience when you're writing. And also, write with a personality. Sometimes, especially if you're a high school student or a middle school student, sometimes we'll write like essays. Nobody wants to read an essay, I'm sorry. But just write with a personality. It's okay to include your personal testimonies, but don't give them something that's boring and monotonous and just feels like that they're in school. So that's it. That's 10 steps to writing an article and or blog post. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are many, many different processes to go about this, but this is the one that I've been using for over 5 years. Now, if you liked it, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also please mention in the comments if there are any other videos that you'd like me to do, if you have any other questions. So make sure to check my website and to see all the other work that I do. Thanks so much, we'll see you next time!